Jason Thompson lived a simple and fulfilling life in Vancouver, where he was a physics professor at a local university. Every morning began with the aroma of fresh coffee and the laughter of his daughter, Emily, while his wife, Claire, a talented artist, discussed ideas for her new paintings. Evenings were filled with stories and dreams of future adventures, woven with care and love. For Jason, this routine was a safe harbor, a silent testimony to the happiness found in the small things. Claire always woke up early to paint, her palette of colors reflecting the first rays of sunlight streaming through the living room windows. Jason watched her as he prepared the coffee, admiring the passion and dedication she put into every brushstroke. Emily, full of energy, ran around the house with her favorite toy, a small robot that Jason had built for her. Claire often talked to Jason about her inspirations and ideas for new works, and he felt privileged to be part of this creative process. On weekends, the family enjoyed walks in Stanley Park, where Emily could play freely and Claire found inspiration in the nature around her. Jason cherished these moments, feeling truly connected to his family. He knew his life was simple, but this simplicity was the source of his greatest joy. They also frequently visited museums and art galleries, where Claire found new influences for her work, and Jason took the opportunity to teach Emily about science and history. At work, Jason was respected by his students and colleagues. His passion for physics was contagious, and he strived to make his classes engaging and understandable. Despite having opportunities to pursue a more ambitious career in scientific research, Jason chose academia for the balance it provided between his work and his family. He often brought simple experiments home to show Emily, who was always amazed by the scientific demonstrations. One day, while walking Emily to school, Jason observed his daughter's enthusiasm for the world around her. Every small discovery, from an insect to a flower, was a source of fascination for Emily. These morning walks were a precious ritual for Jason, a moment of connection and mutual learning. They had a habit of making small bets on what they would see along the way, turning each morning into a small adventure. On a rainy night, after a relaxed gathering with colleagues, Jason walked through the deserted streets of Vancouver, feeling the cool rain on his face. He enjoyed walking at night, reflecting on the lively discussions and future plans. However, something felt different that night. The city, usually vibrant, was strangely silent, and Jason felt a slight unease that he couldn't explain. While crossing a dimly lit street, Jason noticed a shadow moving quickly toward him. Before he could react, he was approached by a masked man who shoved him into a nearby parked van. He tried to fight back, but the attacker's strength and the sudden sting of a needle in his arm left him powerless. The last thing he saw before losing consciousness were the cold, calculating eyes of the man. Jason tried to remember details that could help him understand what was happening, but the growing pain in his arm and the impending darkness prevented him. When he woke up, Jason was lying on a metal cot, surrounded by machines and scientific equipment he didn't recognize. The environment was sterile and cold, with fluorescent lights flickering above his head. He tried to get up, but his muscles were weak and his head was spinning. Looking around, he saw unfamiliar faces, all watching him with curiosity and a hint of distrust. He tried to speak, but his voice came out hoarse and weak, barely managing to ask where he was. Slowly, he began to recall the events of that night. The feeling of helplessness as he was overpowered by the attacker and the darkness that followed the needle's sting. He felt disoriented and vulnerable, but a spark of determination began to ignite within him. He needed to understand where he was and how to get out of there. Jason looked around, searching for something he could use to defend himself or a possible escape route, but everything seemed sealed and controlled. Over time, Jason discovered the horrifying truth: he was no longer in his own reality. The laboratory belonged to an advanced research complex in a parallel version of Vancouver, a place where he never married Claire, nor had a daughter named Emily. Here, Jason was a renowned scientist, known for his research in quantum physics and the invention of a revolutionary technology that allowed travel between alternate realities. The laboratory was a hub of technological innovation, with corridors full of scientists and engineers working on projects that pushed the boundaries of human knowledge. Jason found records of his achievements in this world, including scientific articles and awards he never imagined achieving in his own reality. However, the realization of these accomplishments brought no relief, but rather an overwhelming sense of loss. He began to investigate more deeply, finding recordings of his own lectures and interviews, where he spoke with a confidence and authority he didn't recognize in himself. Every discovery about his alternate life left him more perplexed and desperate to find a way back to his reality. He spent hours researching in the laboratory's archives, trying to understand how the technology worked and if there was a way to reverse the process. It was during these investigations that he met Amanda, a brilliant scientist with a sharp mind and a compassionate heart. Amanda was working on a parallel project involving the exploration of alternate realities to find solutions to complex problems. Amanda was an enigmatic figure in the laboratory. Known for her brilliant mind and reserved demeanor, she had dedicated herself to the research of alternate realities after the tragic loss of her sister in an accident. Upon hearing Jason's story, something in her expression changed, as if she saw in him an opportunity to find answers to her own unresolved questions. She shared with Jason her own theories about how alternate realities could be navigated and manipulated. Determined to find a way back, Jason began to unravel the mysteries of this new reality. He found an unexpected ally in Amanda, who was intrigued by his story and willing to help him. Amanda had her own reasons for wanting to explore alternate realities. She had lost her sister in an accident and hoped to find a version of her in another universe. Together, they began to travel through alternate realities, using the technology that Jason had created in this version of himself. Each new reality was a distorted reflection of his choices. In some, Jason was a renowned and solitary scientist. In others, he lived in a technological utopia or a dystopia ravaged by wars. The variations were endless, but none offered the comfort and love he knew with Claire and Emily. In one of the realities, Jason found a version of himself who had become an authoritarian leader, using technology to control and manipulate the masses. In another, he was a hermit, living alone in an isolated cabin, consumed by guilt and regret. Each encounter was a lesson in the paths his life could have taken, reinforcing his desire to return home. The journey through these alternate realities was exhausting and dangerous. In one reality, Jason and Amanda found a world devastated by nuclear war, where survivors lived in underground colonies, fighting daily for survival. In another, they discovered a world where humanity had made contact with an alien civilization, resulting in an era of unprecedented prosperity and technological advancement. Each visited reality was a test of Jason's resilience and adaptability, requiring him to use all his knowledge and ingenuity to survive. The journey was far from easy. Jason faced dangers at every turn, including versions of himself who had succumbed to selfishness and violence, determined to protect their own realities at any cost. In one of these worlds, he encountered a broken Jason who had lost everything and was willing to do anything to take the life of Jason in his original universe. This grim encounter forced Jason to confront the darkest aspects of his own nature. The alternate Jason attacked him with unbridled fury, accusing him of stealing the happiness he never had. The fight was intense and brutal, with both men using their scientific knowledge to gain the upper hand. In the end, Jason managed to prevail, but the victory left deep scars on his soul. He began to question whether he truly deserved to return to his reality or if he should yield to the other version of himself. Amanda also faced her own challenges, encountering versions of her sister in various realities. In some worlds, her sister was alive and well, but in others, she had met tragic fates. These experiences strengthened Amanda's determination to help Jason, seeing in him a chance for redemption and to find a reality where both could be happy. She became an emotional anchor for Jason, offering support and perspective when he needed it most. In a particularly challenging reality, Jason and Amanda found a world dominated by a tyrannical artificial intelligence that had enslaved humanity. They had to use all their intelligence and courage to avoid capture and find an access point to continue their journey. Each overcome challenge brought them closer to their goal, but also left them more exhausted and desperate. Jason began to realize that his quest for the original reality was not just about him, but also about the people he met along the way and the lessons he learned. After countless attempts and exhausting challenges, Jason finally discovered a way back to his original reality. The reunion with Claire and Emily was a moment of pure euphoria and relief. With tears in his eyes, he embraced his wife and daughter, promising never to let anything separate them again. He shared with Claire only parts of his journey, knowing that some experiences were too difficult to explain. Jason realized that despite the infinite possibilities offered by alternate realities, true happiness lay in the simplicity and daily joys of the life he had built with his family. The love and connection he felt with Claire and Emily were unparalleled, and he was determined to cherish every moment together. He began to record his experiences in a journal, using them as inspiration for new ideas in his classes and to teach Emily about the importance of every choice. He returned to his job as a professor with a new perspective, grateful for the life he had and the people he loved. Claire and Emily noticed the change in him, but welcomed the new Jason with the same love and care. The family continued to live their lives, now more aware of the preciousness of every moment together, knowing that amid infinite possibilities, they chose each other. Amanda, in turn, found new hope in her quest. Although she had not found a perfect version of her sister, she learned to accept the loss and cherish the memories she had. Her friendship with Jason grew stronger, and she continued her research with a new purpose, determined to explore the infinite possibilities of the multiverse with responsibility and compassion. They promised to stay in touch and help each other whenever possible, knowing that their journey still had much to reveal.